Hi there. I'm going to show you about 3 or 4 different movements to help mobilize your knee if you've tweaked it. And I want to thank Todd, who unfortunately tweaked his knee skiing a few months ago. And tweaking means that you've strained either a ligament or a tendon. And because there's less blood flow in ligaments and tendons, they don't heal as fast as musculature. So it will test your patience. First thing is know how to move it in a way that doesn't hurt. Here are some movements I showed him that I'll show you. Because they're not really strengthening movements. They're going to be mobility. And remember, think mobility in terms of the joints, to mobilize joints. And if you want, this is how I think of it, flexibility is that of the musculature. When you stretch a joint and you stretch musculature most of the time. So the first thing you want to do daily is to keep that joint, that knee joint, shall we say, loose. And for it to be loose, it needs to move. Sitting, traveling in an airplane, even walking will help, but after a while your knees will stiffen up because it's a limited range of movement for the joint itself. So you need to mobilize it. Mobilizing it means something as simple as flexing it as far as you can and then extending it. That's it. Now there's no effort in that. There's no strength being gained by doing it. But if you just sit, you're not even coming close to doing that. Lay down and you sleep for 8 hours, you're not doing that. So you can see that there's a very limited time period each day that you're actually moving your legs at all, much less to this degree. So first thing, just as an example, I would use those plates. I think you got those plates. You get those plates, and literally after you sit for like an hour or two, put your heel on one of those plates. You just do one set at a time, and just bring your leg up and then back out, up and back out. Not much of a stretch there, but it's movement. We'll also keep the hamstrings from getting too tight, which sitting and walking tightens those up, as well as riding bikes and running for that matter. But this is the beginning. So if you slid your heel on that plate for a minute, go to this leg, slip it in a minute, get rid of the plate. Then you start to go a little bit further, meaning you start to flex into that joint more. And right now I'm kind of warm. I've ridden my bike a while, so I feel pretty good. So this is pretty far back in, but I'm not feeling much of a stretch. That's a good thing. This side, well, a little tighter, but not more than an 8 out of 10. 6 is better. And it's like stretching is like driving a car and watching the speedometer. You start with 0, and then you go to 10, then you go to 20, then you go to 30. You go 0 to 60, and you do it in increments. Same thing with stretching. You just don't go to 60. Okay, so small movements to start with the plate, and then do this. A little bit of the same movement, a little bit different, but also comfortable because it'll stretch out your back, is that you pull your leg in like this. You can do these 2 or 3 times a day, and you're not even really efforting to do that. Again, these are flexibility. I'm stretching the hamstring here, I'm stretching the knee here, I'm stretching the joint here. So mobility here, flexibility there. Okay? Now, I can give you a harder one. If you start, excuse me, if you start loading the leg means you're putting weight on your feet. Now I'm starting to feel my knees more than I could have stretched them on my own. So go to here, I'm going to hold for about 5-6 seconds, and then back out of it, okay? And then back into it. Slowly, if I kept doing this, after 30 seconds, 45 seconds, and maybe a minute, I can start doing this. This is more pressure on the knee still. And then back down, back out of it. Stretch them out, shake them out, back up, and forward like so. Now, that's about it for the ones on the ground for now. Then the other one is, or the other category of flexibility movements are dynamic. If you're moving your leg like this in a bicycle, you just work on your balance at the same time, like this, leg swings. You see, my knee's not bending, so I'm not doing much for my knee joint. If I start to bend my leg like this, like I'm kicking a ball, then that's good for the knee. Otherwise, it's just a stretch for the hip and the hamstring. Support yourself against the wall. Do 30 seconds in one direction, 30 seconds in the other, just like that. Really, really simple movements. Those would be ones that I would do throughout the day, as needed.